Hello awesome people of YouTube, welcome back to game number 4 between MinChul MC and Liquid Snute. This is going to be on Lerilak Crest. I always call it Lerilak Quest for some reason, I don't know why. And we're going to be playing or watching a Zerg versus Protoss. Now if you haven't seen the previous games, please click on the annotations on the top of your video. They will bring you back to game number 1, 2 or 3, whichever one you stopped. Okay, the English is not flowing right now. Restart. They'll take you to whichever game you stopped on previously, or if you haven't seen any of them, of course, click on game number 1 to start from the beginning of the series, and that'll be the best choice for you. Spoilers are coming, so hope you've already clicked that and are gone if you haven't started here. Okay, so in the previous games, we had a 2-1 result for MC. I believe that Snute was waiting for a little bit longer than he should have when he was pulling ahead, and that gave MC a long time to respond and eventually defeat him in 2 of the games. So 2-1 in favor of MC. It's all about this game. If MC takes this game, he will continue on to the next round. If he doesn't, it'll be on to game number 5. So there we go. We do have a double expansion coming out of Snute at the very beginning. That is quite interesting and quite typical of him, actually. He seems to be doing that pretty much every game, which I suppose at this point, Zerg versus Protoss, that is quite a standard response. You don't really expect that much harassment to go out. I really like the animation of the warp in. It looks pretty damn cool. There we go, the expansion now coming out after the double gateway and cybernetics core. A little bit late, but I find that a little bit late versus Zerg. Specifically on 4-player map, I think that Nexus first seems to be a very good response. Then again, these guys have obviously figured out the meta, and MC is one of the best players in the world, so can't really argue with his skill. And looking at APM, I'm not sure what he's doing 500 APM on, but seems like MC is really busy here. The one thing you don't want to do is sneeze during a cast. Of course you can face away, but luckily I do have that pop filter right in front of it. Right, so it looks like Zergling's being produced at the very beginning. He seems to opt for this pretty much every time. Because he does the double expansion, he always brings out some Zerglings to defend against the imminent adepts that come in. Now just to note, there is no Zerg speed on the way, so these adepts are going to be quite annoying here. And he still does not have gas at all, just to note that. So I really do wonder what he's trying to do without a single gas geyser. Seems like he's just droning up. He's trying to get these bases established right now. But at the same time, I honestly don't know. Is it better to bring out the gas and bring out roaches straight away? I think that as a Zerg player, it's very difficult to deal with Protoss. I find Terran not too bad. I have something like a 60% win rate versus Terran. Versus Zerg, I'm one of the worst, personally now speaking. One of my worst matchups is Zerg, because I'm not that great with the Banelings, so I tend to get destroyed pretty easy with all the Ling rushes, the Bane and Ling rushes. But against Protoss, the faster I kill them, the more likely I have a chance to win the game. If I let it drag on for a little bit too late, they do tend to come back quite often, and even if they're behind on supply, all of a sudden this army of just behemoths charges into my base, and there's nothing you can do. No matter how much stuff you throw at them, they just cannot be destroyed. Ultras get destroyed by pretty much everything. Stalkers are good versus them, Immortals are good versus them, Archons are pretty good against them. Then you have Broodlords, which take so long to get out, so it's not really worth it at that point. Looks like a lair here being produced. Now just to note, the one game where MC lost was actually against Broodlords. But that was because Liquid Snute managed to somehow absolutely drain MC of all resources and denied any sort of expansions and all this kind of stuff, and then the Broodlords were there to defend the base while Mutalisks were wreaking havoc inside of MC's base. So it seems that Zerg Turtle, which involves lurkers and broodlords, seems to be a very, very effective tactic. But okay, the lair is almost complete. It does look like he's getting a War Prism and of course the Resonating Glaive upgrade, since he does seem to be very fond of the Adepts. Honestly, I think that Adepts really needed that nerf that they got. I think they had 100 health and was it 80 shields, and then they decided to nerf them because they were just simply unstoppable. There we go, Roach is now on the field, so not going to be able to do that much with the Adepts anymore. At the same time, this drop with the 4 Adepts is getting put in here. There's already units in position to defend against it, so that's going to pretty much get warded off straight away. Now just to note, there is a Spire being produced right here. Has not been spotted as of yet. And there's also the 6 gases which are on the way. A metabolic boost finally being created right now. Does have an observer coming, so this observer could potentially spot it. Robotics facility is on the way also. It's actually a second robotics facility, so that's quite interesting. And it's 2 robotics facility and 2 gateways, so definitely something you don't see that often. Now there we go, the Mutalisk Spire is now going to get spotted. So MC seems to have such good good scouting. He seems to always find the Spire before it completes, which is very, very significant to you. It might not seem like much, but it just means that there's no surprise with the Mutalisks. When you're fighting against Mutalisks and you did not expect them, so you have these 6 to 10 Mutalisks flying around in your base, destroying things. Now keep in mind, 6 Mutalisks will one-shot one drone, so they can just pretty much wipe out your base in about 10 seconds. If you're not prepared for them, you don't have any units to counter them at all, at that point, you could lose potentially 2 bases before you can respond to it. But if you spot it before the Spire is complete, at least you will be able to bring up some defenses by the time they get to your base. Which again, it's still not easy to defend against them, but a whole lot easier if you don't have anything at all. So as you can see, a photon cannon being created here. He is building double phoenixes out of two Stargates as well. Cannon here, cannon here. Now he did actually manage to catch this base while being in production, so he does pick off a few free probes in this one, which is perfect. Of course he wants to do this. Now these phoenixes would be able to kite these around. Does appear like he's expanding again, which is a correct response, I believe. And Roach has been streamed up to the north. Now what kind of units does MC have? He doesn't actually have a whole lot. He's 40 supply behind Snute. And a lot of roaches here as well. Does have Infestation Pit on the way, level 1 damage for air units. And he's continuing to produce phoenixes. He has a total of 4 already. I think that's 4. Is that 4 or 6? 4. Oh, oh my god, these Zerglings getting caught. This is huge right now. All of the Zerglings gonna get cleaned up very, very quickly here. I don't believe that MC lost anything in that engage. Maybe he lost like a sentry or something, but the amount of Zerglings that he lost oh my god, that Snute lost in that game, or that engage, is pretty huge. Now more Adepts being warped in here. Looks like the Overlord, the Scouting Overlord, does get cleaned up very quickly here. And he has stopped Phoenix production for now. A few Infestors being produced, there's Mutalisks on the way. And level 1 attack is about to complete also. Now the supply difference is only about 26 supply. Is going to start picking up Queens here. The Creep Queens getting very quickly destroyed. Now is he going to continue that? No, it doesn't look like it. He does have the 2 Infestors here, which don't actually have enough energy for fungal, so he doesn't really have to worry about them at the moment. And this base, I'm not sure if it actually got spotted. It did not get spotted, but he'd probably suspect that is the case, seeing as he was heading with the creep that way. Finding another Overlord for free, so there we go. Now at this point, let's have a look what MC has in terms of units. Just to note, there is a Templar Archives before I switch over. 2 Immortals, 12 Adepts, and a bunch of Phoenixes. Versus 27 Mutalisks, 14 Roaches. So the ground force, I believe, is stronger for Snute. slightly. But on the other hand, the Air Force is quite significant. If the Mutalisks manage to engage onto those... Oh my god, a huge fungal growth. This is going to be crazy. Wow, catching out all of those Phoenixes. That was a huge fungal right there. Flying right into it. 7 Phoenixes already lost. There we go. Going to be able to engage onto these ground units, clean them up a little bit, see what he can do. Now, other than the Phoenixes, there's actually no other anti-air here. So he will be able to do a huge amount of damage here. And there we go. Manages to clean up all of the Phoenixes. Wow, a GG is called here. MC GGing out. This brings the game up to 2 apiece. And we're going to be moving on to game number 5, I believe. Now, I didn't actually see a game number 5 replay, so I will have to find that. But wow, catching out MC with those Phoenixes, that pretty much cost him the game. Right, so just on that last point, I have found game number 5, so that is perfect. I'll be moving on to that straight after this. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please leave it a thumbs up and potentially a comment also. And that's pretty much it. My social media details are on the right hand side as per usual, and my subscribe button is underneath my face, just where it always is. I see you guys in game number 5.